Well met, well met. What's going on? It's Tech Maki, and this is my Vision Series episode for White Knight Noel. I'm going to give you a little bit of his history. Since he's a Brave Exvius character, it is very limited, and then I will go ahead and break into the character in actual BE. So White Knight Noel he was known for being a very generous person. He was also a noble. He is a son of two different countries, I guess. One of the countries that his father and mother were from, they have been at war for quite a while, and so when the countries were at peace, and he was of age and everything, and he was already trained up, he used to go between the countries and give gifts to the poor. That's how he helped them out. So I guess it's the similarity between Santa Claus. That's what they were going for, of some sort. And so also, he is from the Icy Highlands or something like that. Whatever Icy Highlands we're thinking they're from. Could maybe, who knows, maybe it's Snowfang Peak or something, whatever. But he also got his Magitech skills. He learned how to pilot a Magitech from his father, which I assume that means that his father was a Magitech pilot, and he learned his magic skills from his mother. So he got the best of both worlds. He can tank in his armor, and he can go ahead and cast some spells while he's at it. In the game, he does come in as a 5-star character, and he is a huge unit. He hides characters in the back when you're in the arena, or just in the character screen. And then he also gets upgraded to a 6-star. If you haven't pulled him by now, well, yeah, I think this is the last week you could have got him. So good luck if you still want him. On the character screen, he comes in as a White Knight, and the role that he carries is a tank and a damage dealer. Unlike regular damage dealers that we know of, or at least regular tank damage dealers like Leo or Warrior Light, he is a magic user, so his best stats are HP, MP, defense, and magic. The abilities that I'm going to go ahead and talk about are the ones I think are the best for him. There are some passives in there, but he does have a good chunk of skills. So the first one we're going to talk about is Steal. It reduces damage taken by 75% for 1 turn. Attract, which is a cool passive, increases chance or being targeted by 30%. Very nice for a tank. Ice Blast, it's ice magic damage and decrease ice resistance by 30% for 1 enemy. Then you have Gale Blast, the same thing as Ice Blast, except it does wind on both the damage and resist. Then you have Rune Protector, which is magic up by 15% when a rod is equipped, and defense up by 15% when a shield is equipped. Light or heavy shields? Yeah. And then you have Bring It On, which it increases the chance of being targeted by 80% and reduces damage taken by 50% for 3 turns. This is actually really nice. It's much better than Provoke, because it has not only the 80% chance of being targeted, but it also reduces the damage taken. So this is actually a really nice, I want to say Uber Provoke even. Then you have Winter Guardian, which is HP plus 20% and immunity to Petrify and Silence. So the 2 things that could really mess him up, that you don't have to really worry about those. The only other one that can get him, I guess, or 2 that can get him are Stop and Paralyze. So you have Tactical Gear, defense up by 30% when equipped with light or heavy armor, and magic up by 30% when equipped with a robe. So he has some real versatility here when it comes to his equips. This kind of reminds me of Noctis with his Power of Kings, except his is more armor for the most part. Then we have Glacial Wave, which is ice magic damage, and it also has a 30% chance to paralyze all enemies. And then he has his badass counter called Winter Palisade. It counters all magic attacks that are taken to, well, not all, yeah, it counters magic attacks by 40% with this skill called Noel's Judgment. Noel's Judgment is broken into these subcategories where he has a 30% chance to either cast Ice Blast or Ice Wave. Ice Wave is ice magic damage to all enemies. And then he has a 20% chance to either cast Glacial Wave or Sub-Zero, and Sub-Zero is a specific one only to Winter Palisade. It is it's ice magic damage. Also does a 100% chance, it's 100% you're going to paralyze the people that or the person that it hits, and then it can also reduces the ice resistance for that enemy by 50% for 3 turns. It's pretty badass if your 20% procs that. So
I'll give it to him. He has a very interesting skill set. For his limit burst, we're going to actually mention this one too, because I think it's on the same. I'm not going to say exact same level, but it's in the same area as Noctis's or Cecil's. It's called Silver Curtain at his 6-star rating, and it does defense and magic up by 50% at the lowest level and 74% when maxed out for 3 turns, and it also recovers 30 MP to all allies. It's actually not a bad skill to have, or not a bad limit break. So if you ever, you're running low on MP, you can go ahead and cast his limit break and help everybody out. For his Trust Master, we have a 7-star accessory that is called Ice Rosetta. This is actually an amazing TM, an amazing little accessory. I think it has the highest defense and magic rating you can get from anything. Comes in at magic and defense plus 50, and then also it gives you the ice resistance plus 25%. It's actually really nice if you. It can also be very situational, but you can always just slap this on a mage or himself to increase their potency. For the espers that I chose, I went with Golem and Ifrit. Ifrit was specifically because for his mage build, you probably would think about using Ramu, Shiva, Diablos, but Ifrit I think would be much more beneficial because it can get rid of his fire resistance, the fire resistance down that he has. So for each build that I have, I also place the Esper next to the stats points so that you can see which Esper goes for the specific build. So first we got the free-to-play build. It's called Frigid Shield. Comes with HP at 7,009, MP at 221, and defense is at 440. Every other stat is kind of mediocre, but this is the build that I went with specifically so that you could tank with your nice little Noel. So you would equip Golem Staff. I'm not sure if he can paralyze with his abilities. I haven't tested that out yet, but I will probably add something in the comments down below after I fully test that staff out. I got to get it first. And then Force Shield, Grand Helm, Force Armor, Muscle Belt, Defender's Bracer, HP plus 15%, times 2, and then 2 Guardian Authorities. And as usual, you can always downgrade these to HP plus 10% if you need to, or to a Guardian Authority if you have more of those. At full pots, it comes in at 7750 for HP and 292 for MP, and your defense goes up to 503. So he's, like I said, he's very tanky in this build. He has a decent amount of HP. If that's what you want him to do, he can just hold that spot down, and his magic goes up a little bit. Now for the next build, it is the high-end tank. I also decided on this one to throw out the elemental resistances because there was a small discussion with somebody on one of my buddy's Clake's videos about White Knight Noel, and I want to make sure everybody's tracking where his resistances will be. So total HP is kind of low at 5545 because of the fact that we're trying to maximize his resistance ability plus his defense. He has 221 MP, 574 defense, 376 magic, so he can do a little damage with his magic since it scales a little different than attack. The equipment that he has on is the Omni Rod, Force Shield, Grand Helm, Maximilian, Ice Rosetta times 2, 2 Seals of Protection, and 2 Melody to Life. Now the Melodies of Life are specifically to increase his elemental resistance out of the negative, so he can bring his fire resistance up to 0%. And then of course he's taking pretty much no damage from ice now, and all of his other elemental resistance he's in the positive, so it's actually not that bad. With pots, he can become even more potent. His defense goes up to 644, HP up to 6,130, and he gets a little MP increase with the 292. Magic also goes up into the 400s. So he's sitting pretty well. He's sitting pretty good to be a full-time tank there. It's just the HP is a little lacking compared to Cecil's ability to get to 10,000 HP. Now with the next build, this is a mage build. I call it Snowfang's Tears, and it's a little interesting. You would be rocking 2 Omni Rods, the Creepy Mask if you have that. You can always downgrade that if you weren't here for the Halloween events to get that. A Lordly Robe, which is Alma's TM, Genji Glove, Ice Rosetta, Power of Creation, a Melody of Life, and 2 Seals of Destruction. And he has a decent amount of HP at 5,500 with this setup. His magic is a 636, so it's pretty high. And then of course with this same build, I set him up with a Frit so that we can get rid of his fire resistance down, and the Melody of Life to give every resistance an increase. So he has nothing in the negative yet again. And with pots, he comes in at 6,120 HP, 286 MP, 697 magic. So he's pretty strong still. He's almost at the 700 mark. He might be, depending on what your stats are for your Frit, if you so choose to go with this specific build. And then for the last build I have, it's going to be the arena build. It's called Frozen Menace. This one is a very interesting build. I tried to get really creative with this one. He has 6,267 HP, 200 MP, 334 magic, so he should still be able to do some decent damage, 468 defense, so he should be able to take some hits for everybody. His elemental resistance, again, all in the positives, and that's due to the Melody of Life, the Ice Rosetta, Force Shield, Force Armor. He also is wearing an Omni Rod Grand Helm, and then for Goddess's Protection to get rid of all of his status ailment resistance. He's now covered on everything but stop, and he has Seal of Protection as well as an HP plus 30% to bump his HP up a little bit. And then with full pots, he comes in at 6,930, 367 MP, defense of 531, MP of 271. And his spirit resistance actually goes up a little, so he should be able to take a little bit more damage. And then the Ring of Lucii is I'm going to say almost the linchpin in this whole thing, because now he has the chance to cast Holy, Death, Alterna if he wants, if he actually wants to get all those. And he has some evasion built into him now. So not only will he be able to counter magic attacks, which a lot of people seem to like using, but he will also be able to evade some physical attacks, plus do some damage at the same time. So I hope this build works for everybody. And again, he should be taking very limited damage, except for the lowest damage he's going to take is from light damage and wind damage. But like I said, all of it should be resisted. But that's pretty much it for White Knight Noel. Let me know what you think about the character's builds, what you think about the character in general, in the comments down below. Let me know what you think about my builds. And if you liked the video, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more content in the future, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. And as always, I am a Twitch streamer. You can check me out on twitch.tv/tech_Maki. Yeah, Maki out.